Hi everybody. So I'm just gonna wait for a few minutes for more people to join in. So anyway, hi and welcome to my channel, and I'm very glad to have you here in this video. So today we will be covering up any trouble that you've been facing when it comes to using a menstrual cup. So I have a lot of questions, a lot of issues that you have shared with me. So last week, I think in Instagram, I had shared a question asking most of you what were the issues that you were facing when it comes to using a menstrual cup. And if you would believe it, I have so many responses. I had so many questions and queries. So I thought, covering it in a video would probably make it like a very long video. So I thought I'll come live and discuss this with all of you and be able to actually interact with you. Hi Isha. Hi. Hi Isha. So yeah, it's been a long time since I had like a live session here. I think the last time I had a live was probably a year back, almost a year back. So yeah, it's been a while since I had a live session here, and I'm really happy to see everybody here. So also just don't feel weird because my camera is over here while my laptop is here, so I might be looking from here to here. So hi Isha, how you been? It's nice to finally chat live after such a long time. So anyway, one more thing, if any of you have any of your issues that you're facing by using a menstrual cup, please feel free to give me the questions in the chat box and I will address it. I already have like so many already here that has been given to me, but I thought if anybody has any real issue that they're facing in the live session anyway, that would be an even better way to for interacting and discussing the issue that you're facing. So now I'll just start off. When it comes to a menstrual cup, I have been using a menstrual cup for over 3 years now. So I started back in 2018, and it just randomly I just heard about this product menstrual cup way before I even started. Uh, I started on my zero waste journey. Day before that, I had discovered this menstrual cup, and I thought this was something I needed to try out. And as somebody who has used a tampon before, it wasn't really a big problem for me to use a menstrual cup. So anyway, now I will just start off with the questions that I already got, and then start answering those. And if anybody else has any query that you want to ask, please feel free to ask in the live chat. So the very first question that I got asked was that I tried and tested the cup, but the cup got stuck inside and I couldn't remove it despite trying everything at home. So this is a very common problem that I have had women message me and tell me that several of them had to go to the doctor to take out their menstrual cup. And this is something I think most of us believe will happen to us before we start out with the menstrual cup. And to be honest, for me, with the very first time I tried out a menstrual cup, I freaked out when I had to remove it, and I even went and told Suraj that I may have to go to the emergency and I may need to get it removed there. But that is something I think most of us have in common. We all think that is the situation we are going to have. But mostly it is always because of, again, tension. We're just getting tense where our body, our vagina muscles, it contracts and prevents our cup from getting out. So we are basically causing our body to shut down on us, which makes it really hard for us to take that cup out. So once you start calming down and relax and start telling yourself that, hey, you are going to get it out. Don't worry, you will take it out. And when you start telling yourself that it's not going to be as tough as you thought, or if you're even more tense, you can maybe listen to some music, meditate. I have heard of people meditating to lower their tension. So you can meditate, you can maybe listen to something, watch something, calm yourself down and then again try to pull it out. Because if you don't relax, you will cause your body to stress, tense up, and prevent the cup from coming out. And that is when you feel like you need to go to the doctor. But most of us, almost 95 of us, 95% of us have been able to take it out by ourselves. So I'm telling you, it's just you need to just try it. That's all. Hi Krishna, hi. How are you? How are you? I'm also good. It's been a while. It's been a while. And oh, it's very sweet of you to say that I've inspired you. I'm so happy to hear that. So if any of you, again, like I'm repeating, if any of you are having any issues when it comes to using a menstrual cup, please let me know by commenting in the live chat so that I can help you out there. Because obviously this video is for helping you out when it comes to a menstrual cup. So if you have any queries, please feel free to give it in the live chat. So I'm just gonna keep continuing with the queries I've already received. So now the next one is that what if it hurts? What happens again? I think it's the same thing. What happens if I can't get it out? And how do I insert such a big thing? Again, this is one thing I keep repeating when I talk about insertion part. So the menstrual cup is not as big as, I mean, yeah, it is not tiny. It's not as small as a tampon. It's a little bigger than a tampon. But if you think about it, we have babies coming out through the same hole as they're trying to insert the menstrual cup. It's the same hole. It's the same opening that a baby comes out through. So if we can think of a baby which is going to be way bigger than this menstrual cup, I'm pretty sure all of us can insert the menstrual cup without any pain. So it's something I know it's very. A lot of people find it really surprising to know that this is such a big product and how do we insert it. But they forget the fact that we have our human body is such a miraculous one that we have a huge baby coming out, and I don't think this menstrual cup should be of too much concern if that is the case. So again, another question I got is, I guess I have vaginismus because I cannot even finger myself. So this, I was reading up about this situation. So this is a situation where you're not able to insert anything into your vagina. This is the condition. So for anybody who has this condition, I would just suggest that please don't force yourself to insert a menstrual cup because it can be painful for you and it's not recommended. So if you have such a situation, it's better that you go to a gynecologist, seek for professional help, and see if there is a way of making sure that you can cure the problem. And only after that, it's why you should be trying out a menstrual cup. Because if you do have this condition and then you are trying to insert, you're going to be disappointed, and then that's going to be a tough situation for you because you're going to blame yourself that it's because you are tensed or so, but it's just that your body has this condition which doesn't allow anything to go into your vagina, so it's not your fault. So just try going to the gynecologist and then calmly talk to them, understand why this is happening, try to treat yourself for it, and then hopefully in the long run you may be able to use it. If not, there is always the option of using sustainable reusable cotton pads or even period panties. There are period panties these days which you can use. So yeah, these are the options for somebody who has the condition called as vaginismus. So yeah. So again, there's a lot of queries when it comes to pain of insertion and side effects. Okay, another very common query I hear is about what size do I use? What size of menstrual cup do I use? So this is again something I again personally I don't believe that sizes really matter so much when it comes to menstrual cup, except if you have really high cervix or really low cervix. But again, I will just give you a solution if you want to understand how to measure your vaginal canal to make sure that the cup that you are using is fine for you, fine for your cervical canal. So basically, when you look at it, your vaginal, the opening to your vagina would be here, and the thing that's right above that connects your vagina to the uterus is called as the cervix. So this whole tunnel is called as the vaginal canal. So this is where your cup actually sits. So this canal or this tunnel is where the cup actually sits in. So if you want to find out how much is the length of this canal, you'll be able to figure out what is the size of cup that you can probably use. And to figure out the size of the canal, the best time to measure the cervix is while you're already on your periods, because our cervix actually sort of moves up and down, and it is always best. So during your periods, it usually comes down a little bit. So it's best to measure your cervix during your periods or right before you are having a periods. So all you need to do basically is take your ring finger, take just your ring finger, try inserting it into your vagina, and until you feel something restricting you from going on. So that whatever you feel as a block would be your cervix. So don't worry if you think that you're going to have a problem differentiating your cervix and your vaginal canal, because the canal will be sort of spongy and all that, but your cervix is very firm. So if when you see a block, that will be your cervix, and try inserting your finger as far as you can feel that cervix. And when you feel the cervix, just use your thumb and then try to put points at that place right inside your vagina to just mark the length of your vaginal canal. So just mark it, and then when you take it out, you can just use like a ruler or something and then measure this length in centimeter and then compare it to the length of a menstrual cup that you are going to buy. And if in case when you are putting your hand inside and you put your whole finger inside, you're still unable to feel anything firm at the other end, that usually means that you have a very high cervix. And in that case, it's always best for you to choose a cup which has a longer a longer cup. So that is what would be correct for you, because otherwise it might be a little difficult for you to push it down and handle it when inside. So in that case, you can always choose the bigger cup. And in case, say you have you put your finger in and your cervix is like really close and it doesn't even go till your this knuckle of yours, it might mean that you have a lower cervix. But again, like I said, measure the cervix by marking the place till your finger goes to touch the cervix, and then take it out and measure the thing using a measuring tape or a scale or something, because that would be more accurate, instead of just saying that if it's still the first knuckle, it's basically a very small cervix. If it's still the middle one, it's average, and if it's till the end of the finger, it's a high cervix. You can't just predict it because all of our fingers are of different length and everything. So it's accurate to just measure it using a scale or a measuring tape. So this is a very common question that most women ask me about measuring or understanding what sizes cup to use. But from my own personal experience, I have used different sizes, different like widths, and the ones with and without stems. I've used various types of menstrual cups inside, and none of them have had any issue for me. I've seen that all three or four of them that I've used, I've never had any leakage. As whenever it's properly placed, it's never had any leakage for me. So my personal belief is that our body kind of takes it. I mean, the menstrual cup kind of takes the shape of your vaginal canal and sort of comfortably settles inside. So I don't usually feel that there's a huge issue if you have a wrong size as you believe, but if you want to be very, very accurate about the size, definitely do what I said and measure your cervical canal or your vaginal canal. So another question that I keep getting is, um, go inside. I'm using smallest. So yeah, one other question is, my period is super light and I only use like 4 tampons a month. So the menstrual cup is not just for somebody who has a really heavy flow. Just for that, it's for anybody who has any kind of flow. So menstrual cup can be used by anybody who is menstruating. It doesn't matter if you have a very light flow. It doesn't matter if you have a medium flow or even if you have a very heavy flow. The only thing that will change is the time that you need to keep the cup inside you. So for somebody who has like a very heavy flow, you may not be able to keep it for 8 to 12 hours. You may need to change it or take it out every 5 to 6 hours. But that is the only difference. So even if you have a very, very light flow, you can still use the cup. And even if your cup has very less blood, it still is much, much better than using tampons, because again, like we all know, even the organic tampons. So just yesterday, I had somebody ask me about organic tampons and that they were using cotton ones, whether that was bad or not. So even organic cotton tampons are still tampons, which means it is disposable. So mostly, I don't think we have reusable tampons in India yet. So most of the tampons we have here are disposable and single-use ones. So any day menstrual cups are way, way, way better than tampons. So please do not compare a menstrual cup to a tampon, because any day the menstrual cup is always better than a tampon. So and you can use it even if you have a very heavy flow or a very light flow. It doesn't matter, because the difference is that a tampon absorbs your blood while the cup collects your blood. So the flow you have does not matter. You can just collect it, keep it for however long you can, and then take it out and dispose of the blood. So it doesn't matter what flow you have. Hi, Kavya. How often to change in teeth? So this is something I was talking about. So if you are somebody who has like a very, very heavy flow, I would suggest that you probably should take it out at least every 5 to 6 hours, because usually the cups can be kept anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. But if you have a very heavy flow and your cup might fill up faster than that, so it's ideal that you try and take it out every 5 to 6 hours and then empty it and put it back in. But if you are a very somebody with a light flow, so for me personally, I have light flow. Even on my very start or the second day or so, I don't have too much of blood. So for me, I can easily keep my cup inside for up to 12 hours very easily. So if you are somebody with a medium to light flow, I think 10 to 12 hours is very much possible. But if you have very heavy flow, like I said, again, 5 to 6 hours is ideal, and you should probably, it could maybe go on a little longer, but that is something you would understand once you start using it. So each of our bodies are very different. So we will start understanding our bodies personally much better when we start using the cup. We'll start understanding how much of blood we actually have during our periods. Unlike a pad or even period panties, we'll actually start be able to measure the amount of blood that we actually have. So yeah, you're welcome. So I wish I could know your actual name, Cinderella girl, but I think still thank you so much. So, and another question. Few of my friends told me it doesn't sound comfortable. So again, it's a very personal thing. And if you ask any woman who has completely subverted, any woman who has subverted, they would tell you that it's the most comfortable thing ever, ever. It's so comfortable that you sometimes forget that you have period. That has happened to me. Trust me, that has happened to me, that I've forgotten that, oh shit, I have periods, and then I have to go and take out my cup. So that is how comfortable it is once you become good at insertion and taking out. Because until then, it might feel a little uncomfortable because you may not have placed your cup properly. But that is only something that it'll take like 1 to 2 to 3 cycles for you to become really good at inserting or taking out your cup. So the usage of menstrual cup is always like a learning curve. We have a learning curve, so it will take time. So please don't get uh, please don't get disappointed just because you are not able to do it in your first cycle of periods. Just try again and again and push yourself to still keep on going until you get the hang of it. Because once you get the hang of it, I am telling you, you are going to come back and tell me, you are going to message me and tell me how this is the most liberating product in your life. This is what I tell everybody. There is nothing as liberating during your periods as using a menstrual cup. You can go anywhere, do anything. You can go swimming, you can go work out, you can do absolutely anything without having to worry about your blood coming out or leaking or staining your panties. No worries, because this is the most liberating product ever. And this is the main reason why I keep coming here to tell all of you about this wonderful product and trying to encourage more and more of you to try use it, because the feeling I have gained from using it, I want to pass on to all of you, because I feel that every woman deserves to feel that. So that's why I keep coming here and trying to let people understand and try to upward to using a menstrual cup. So again, let's go to the next one. So another person says, I find my clothes parts are comfortable. If you are comfortable with using reusable clothes pad, there's no issues with it. Please keep continue using it, because that is again as sustainable as the menstrual cup. So I have no issues with that. If you are somebody who's using a cotton reusable cloth pad, that's as good as a menstrual cup, and keep continuing that. And I don't think you should have to convert to a menstrual cup unless you feel like it. I don't push people who have already started using a cloth pad, because again, that is really sustainable too. I only try and cover the people who have yet to switch to anything which is sustainable. Also, one more thing I wanted to cover here is about using a biodegradable sanitary napkins, which are very popular these days. I think from last year, the boom for this biodegradable sanitary napkins have been so high in India that I know personally, I know a lot of people are using it and believing that that's sustainable, and hence they feel less guilty about using it. But let me just stop you there, because firstly, I am not very sure about the how it is going to biodegrade in the first place. We haven't really seen how long it takes. No, none of the companies who sell it actually give us a time period or the proper instructions on how it will decompose. And most of them give like an approximate time, about 1 year or 6 months or so, but they also fail to tell us that it may not compose in a home compost like we compose our food or other things. So it doesn't compose just like that in a home compost. It usually requires special systems for proper composting. So if we don't have it, there is more chance that it will go to the landfill, because the way we dispose of it is just tying it in the cover that they usually give us, and then putting it with the biohazard waste, which is the sanitary waste. So when we put it into that waste, it usually goes with the other biohazard waste, which is usually the normal disposable napkins, again the normal plastic ones. So it usually goes with that. So there's no ideal way of distinguishing whether one is biodegradable or not. So the people who collect your sanitary waste are not going to go and open your waste to see which is biodegradable or not. So it's all ultimately going to the landfill or to waste heal somewhere around. So that's why I keep telling people, if you think you can feel a little less guilty when it comes to the using biodegradable sanitary napkin, I would say that's just a what do you say? It's a false paradise sort of. It's not something that really is sustainable. So, if possible, I would encourage all of you to try and switch to one of these proper sustainable ones, which is a menstrual cup, a reusable cotton pad, or even period panties. So these are really proper sustainable options because these are reusable. They can be used several times before you need to dispose of them. And that is the first reason why it is sustainable. So now I'll go to the next questions. So again, I think it's a lot of them is about it not going in. So I've already said about the insertion part. In my last video, I did talk about how to insert the cup in different using different folds. So if you have no idea how to insert the cup, I would suggest that you go check out my previous video. But if you are somebody who has seen the folds, you tried and you just think it's not going in, I've also given a suggestion of using a water-based lubricant. So there are a few in the market these days that you can use on the rim of your cup and then try and insert it, because this will act as a lubricant and help put it inside a little more easily. But otherwise, again, the main reason is because of tension, stress, and when you are stressed up, again, your vagina closes up and does not allow anything to go in, because if you are involuntarily telling your body that you want to stop anything from going in, you're involuntarily letting your body cover up and be on like an attack mode where it doesn't allow anything inside. So please relax. If you are trying to insert, maybe do it while under a shower. Have the waterfall over you, listen to some calm music, or do something that will calm you down. You know how you may be able to calm yourself down. So do whatever it takes to just calm yourself down, and then gently, don't force it on yourself. Wait a while. If you try putting it in and it didn't happen, just give yourself like a few minutes to pick it up again. Don't rush it. Don't rush it at all. Take your time. Just give yourself like 5-10 minutes and then go and try inserting. Hi, Richa. Hi. My voice is breaking. Okay. I don't think anybody said that. Is it better now? Is my voice better now, or is it still breaking? I thought there was no issues because I can't hear, so I'm not able to know whether there's any voice issues when it comes to this. So please, if there is any voice issues while I'm speaking, is it still breaking? Okay. Let me just turn off the fan because it could be because of it. So I've just turned off the fan. Is it clearer now? Is the voice better? Richa, Divya, just let me know. Is my voice still breaking or is it better now? It's not breaking, right? Oh shit. I'm not really sure why this is happening, because everything seems quite fine. Yeah, it is hot. Yeah, this is Kerala. I'm in Kerala, so it's super hot. That's why I kept on this fan. So yeah, I think I should probably turn it back on. Otherwise, you're going to watch me sweat over the camera. Echo vibration. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because the room doesn't have too much of, I think, furniture. Maybe that's why it's happening. Or maybe my voice is too loud. I'm known to be like, I have a loud voice. It could be because of the phone, yes. It could be that. I'm not sure what is happening, why there's an echo. I think I have used the same setup previously for a video, but I'm not sure why this is happening. Okay, let me just try putting my phone on airplane. Yeah, I'll try doing that. Actually, I'm using my phone for the video, so that's why I'm not able to do anything to the phone. So I'm not sure why this is happening. So I'm not sure whether it's because it's been happening for a while or it's just something that started happening. Oh God. Okay, I think this is just a way of learning how this works. So thank you, Richa, for pointing it out, because otherwise I may never have realized it. And thank you for coming for my live session too. So anyway, I'll maybe continue with the questions that I have got. So I have another issue that somebody told me, that the menstrual cup is leaking no matter what the size and position that they try to fit it in, and they're using it for nearly 2 years. Okay, so somebody who's been using it for that long, and if it thank you, Divya. Thank you. I love you too. So anyway, coming back to the question, which is that when it is leaking, no matter what size you're using, mostly it's usually the leakage happens when the insertion is not proper. That is the very common reasons for the leakage happening. It has happened to me sometimes when I'm in a hurry and I just insert very quickly and assume as an expert that it will just be properly placed. But it has happened to me very few times now, but it has happened, and that is usually if I don't insert it properly. Once you insert, usually there you will feel like a pop feeling inside you when the cup opens up. That opening up will have like a pop. You will feel that pop inside you. If you do feel that pop, usually your cup has opened up properly, and when you tug it after that, it won't come out and it won't budge. It will probably just stay there. That's it. Thank you, Divya. Thank you. Yeah, so here Divya is saying that it took her 4 months to learn. And yes, it sometimes does take much longer than you actually think, because all of us have different learning curves. We learn it at different paces. So I would just say, don't beat yourself up if it's taking longer, because at the end we all want it to just work for us. And once it works, you will feel the joy. You will feel that joy. You will realize that joy. Thank you, Divya. So thank you. So now I just continue with the leakage process problem. So when it's leaking, another thing you can recognize if it's properly placed properly or not is when you start walking. Like after you insert your cup, then just get up and just start walking, facing inside the bathroom a little bit here and there. So once you just place yourself here and there, if you can feel your cup inside you, it is usually because the cup hasn't properly gotten placed. Because once you start moving up and down towards the end of like a minute or two, you should stop feeling the cup inside you. Because when the cup is ideally placed inside you, you will forget the presence of it. You will not feel it inside you, and that is a sign that your cup has been properly placed. So if you still feel the stem against your the opening, and if you still feel a little uncomfortable while you're walking, it usually means that you haven't inserted it properly. So if you've not inserted it properly, just put your hand back in. Try to feel at the base of the cup, and if you feel any places where there's any like a if there is any like a small thing, you can just slowly move the base, not the stem. I have made this mistake of trying to move the stem and expecting that it will move the base. Don't do that. Just slowly with your hands move turn the base around slowly, and when you turn the base around, the cup will open up. So it will open up even if it hasn't completely opened up when you have placed it. So when you move the base, it will open up and it will properly get inserted. So these are two things. First is the popping feeling. Not everybody should feel that, because in the start when I started out, I never used to feel the pop inside me. But now every time I put it, I do feel that pop. Most of the time, always I feel it. And otherwise, when you start walking for a minute or two, you will stop feeling the cup inside you, and that is another sign that you have placed it properly. So if you are somebody who's starting out, I always suggest that you place a panty liner, which is a reusable panty liner, or even a cloth pad, reusable cloth pad, along with the cup, so that there is no leakage. And even if there is a little bit of leakage, it just gets caught in the pad, and you can wash it and reuse it again. So this is something I always suggest somebody who's trying it out for the first time and they're worried about leakage. Always just pair it with a reusable cloth pad, and it should be fine. So Divya has asked me, what cleaning procedure would you recommend? So this is again something very common. People say when they're trying to clean the product, how do I clean it in case I'm outside or I'm not at home? So by cleaning after each insertion and taking it out, not in the start of your period and the end of your period, but in the middle when you are inserting and taking it out, inserting and taking it out. In those times, you can just wash your cup using tap water. You can just wash it using tap water and then insert it again. And if you don't have tap and you're inside, let's say you're in an office and you can't just go to the tap to clean it because other people may be there, and you what you can do is go into the toilet. You would mostly having a hand shower, right? You can just clean the cup using the hand shower and then reinsert it. So remember one thing, one critical thing I keep telling everybody is that our vagina, unlike what you believe, is not as clean a place like you would think. So it's not clean. We have a good and bad bacteria inside the vagina. It's not something we need to be worried about so much. So even if there is, it's not like 100% clean. Even if you insert it, it will be fine. Just make sure that you don't keep it in a dirty place, but after clean. So you just don't, after washing the thing, don't keep it on your toilet or somewhere. Don't keep it on your sink or anywhere. Just hold it in your hand and then insert it. So if that's the case, it doesn't really matter, even if it's not like 100% clean. So at the end of your period cycle, you have to make sure you clean it with normal tap water, and then you boil it on the stove. You boil it for at least 5 minutes in water on the stove, and then you can keep it in your cloth pad. I mean cloth towel. So that's how you can clean it. So you're very scared of leakage. We can use period panties. Yes. So that's what I always say. If somebody is worried about leakage because they're not completely fine with their insertion part, always pair it up with a reusable pad or reusable cloth pad or period reusable panty liners or even period panties. So this is the best way you can ensure that the period, I mean your period is completely sustainable, even if there is any kind of leakage. You don't have to be worried. So you can definitely use that. Thank you, Sylvia, for the suggestion. So, okay, I'll move on to the next question that I keep getting. So, one question is, I'm afraid of infections down there because I'm very prone to skin allergies and infections. So, again, please understand that the menstrual cup is made of something called, which is 100% medical grade silicone, and silicone is an inert product, meaning it doesn't react to our skin and our skin doesn't react to it. It's an inert product. It doesn't have any kind of reaction. It doesn't react to anything around it, because of which even if you insert it, it doesn't cause you any infection as long as you don't keep the menstrual cup in a dirty area or something. As long as you are handling it very responsibly and safely, it does not have any problem of causing infections. And once if you boil it before you use it for the first time during the period, and boil after you use it at the end of the period, it should be completely fine. You don't have to be worried because you're sterilizing it. So that's what I would say. It doesn't really have any issues, even if you are prone to infections or allergies. The cup in itself is not going to be causing. I would say that the normal pad, the normal usual pad has more chances of causing you allergies because it has a lot of chemicals in it. So there is no chemical involved in the menstrual cup. So I don't think there should be any problem of allergies involved at all. Yeah, so I get heavy flow on the first 2 days. There is some different sizes which I should one opt for. Again, Rita, you don't need to have 2 different sizes for different times. Even if you have heavy flow, and if you want, there are, I think a lot of companies have different sizes for people with heavy flow and light flow. You can opt for the size which is for heavy flow, which means usually the diameter of the cup would be a little bigger, wider. So you can opt for that cup, and you can use the same cup during the whole period. Even if after 2 days if your period flow goes low, it still doesn't matter. The only difference is that when your period flow is high, the only thing is that you will need to take the cup out a little more often than otherwise. So in your first 2 days, you may have to take the cup out like every 5 to 6 hours instead of 12 hours. So after your heavy flow is over, you can use the same cup. You do not need 2 cups for one same cycle. You can use the same cup. Only that you don't have to remove it every 5 to 6 hours. You can remove it every 12 hours. And so it doesn't matter if you have different, I mean, the flow is always changing, because I think for all of us, our flows are very different during the entire cycle. Everybody mostly has heavier flow during the start and lighter flow during the end, but we still use the same cup. You don't have to change it. Also, what is your view on recyclable pads? Again, I think I was commenting on that a little bit earlier, but I'll repeat now. There is no recyclable pads as of now. What they call it is biodegradable pads. But what I would say is none of these companies which have these biodegradable pads offer to collect the pads from you after your period to dispose of it or compost it properly, because unlike what you believe, we can't put the same thing. The biodegradable pads can't be put in our home compost. It's not going to compost in our home compost. So it needs specific requirements where it needs to go, and then you can, mostly it's the incinerator that goes to for burning. So otherwise it doesn't properly compost for after like 1 year or so, as they claim. It cannot be done at home. It will usually only happen in certain systems, and mostly those are not present. And say you're in an office, you have a lot of women in an office, all of you use different types of pads. One, you may be using a biodegradable one, and the other person may be using a normal pad. So at the end of your period, you will be tying it up in a cover or a newspaper or whatever you have, and you'll be throwing it in the sanitary waste. Right. So in that case, you don't have any kind of differentiation for the biodegradable pad and the normal pad. So you will throw it into the sanitary waste, and that gets taken by the people, and it will usually go into the landfill or go for incineration. If that is happening, there's no recycling process there, because firstly the pad is dirty. It's dirty with your blood. So recycling is completely out of the whole thing. There is no recycling that happens. The only thing that happens, as they claim, is that it biodegrades because it's made of natural materials. But the problem is that there is no proper system where you see it happen. I personally haven't seen any of those happen, and so until it has been proven to happen, like in a year, I will probably stay away from any brand that claims to have biodegradable cloth pads. So yeah, so your size depends upon whether you are a girl or a woman or a mother. Okay, so again, Divya, that again, I believe it's a personal thing because I started using something called the Boon cup, which is of one single size for everybody. There's no small, medium, large at all. They come in a very single size, and that cup has been used. I have known people who are a teenager using it, people who have given birth use it, and people who are even near them menopause, they also use it. So this whole thing about how our vagina expands after birth, yeah, it does expand after like delivery. Post delivery, people don't recommend using a cup right after you have a delivery. Usually, you are asked to start wearing a cloth pad or so. You are not supposed to wear a menstrual cup right after delivery for almost like a year. But after that period, your vagina should come back to its normal size. So it doesn't really matter so much. So that's why I keep saying it's basically just something that if knowing that a smaller cup is better for you makes you feel better about using it, then go for the smaller one or the larger one, vice versa. So it's all about what you feel more comfortable with. If you think that one size should fit you for whichever size should fit you, it should be fine. But if you feel that the larger one might be too big for you and you are more comfortable using the smaller size, then you can go for it. I have no objection. You're welcome, Richa. You're very welcome. So again, one more thing. So the biggest, most common thing I again hear is about using it as a teenager or as somebody who's worried about their virginity. So let me just explain once. So what we term as virginity has everything to do with one single tissue that is covering or sort of around the entrance of a vagina. So that is called the hymen. So this hymen is what we have popularly attached to this whole virginity. So the thing is that the hymen is a tissue that some of us are born with and some of us are born without. So yes, that's the truth. Some of us are even born without a hymen. So just associating something like your virtue to a tissue that actually this hymen or this tissue actually has no purpose. It doesn't really have any particular purpose to our body. It doesn't really do anything to our body. So it basically it's basically like a rubber band. So it sort of expands and contracts and expands and contracts. And sometimes when it stretches, like when it expands, sometimes it may bleed, and that is what they call is you are no longer a virgin when you bleed. So that is what people talk about as the virginity myth. So this tissue, when it stretches, sometimes it may hurt us, and sometimes even if you before we are sexually active or before we are married, we may have stretched our hymen while we are say in doing sports or dancing or something. We may already have stretched it out and we may already have bleed. So again, attaching this unnecessary, I mean, useless sort of tissue to something like our virtue. Personally, I don't believe in it, but I don't force anybody to stand against it either because everybody has their own beliefs. So I would just ask you to question whether it is something that you want to put your virtue into, like this one tissue which has no purpose. If you don't really problem when using. Sometimes it may at all. So speculating about things and then trying to force ourselves not to use such a wonderful product as a menstrual cup just because of this one tissue. So it's completely up to you, but I would just say to think a little bit about whether it matters to you or not. So that would be my advice when it comes to virginity. But it's totally, at the end of the day, it's your decision and nobody should force you. It should be something you take for yourself. And I personally know a lot of school girls, a lot of teenagers who have started using the cup when they are very young, when they start their menstruation itself. People who have started when they're just 14 or 13. I know people who have done that. So it doesn't matter whether you are 12, 13, 14. As far as you are a menstruating woman, you can use a menstrual cup. And it doesn't matter even if you are older and you are close into your menopause. It's still, if you are bleeding, you can still use your menstrual cup. It doesn't matter until your menstruation stops. You can keep using the menstrual cup over and over again. So this is again a very, very, very common misconception when it comes to menstrual cup. I mean, that's virginity again. So, and another person says, does it have any problem while urinating? This is again a very great question, because I know a lot of people don't ask it, but everybody has this doubt, sort of, and they're embarrassed about asking this. But let me just share this out. So when it comes to, so as a woman, most of us are not even aware of the fact that for our we have 3 holes in our private parts. We have 3 holes, not 2. 3 holes. So the first one is where we urinate through. The second one is the vaginal, the opening to the vagina, through which we have a period blood come out. We insert the menstrual cup. We have a baby come out, and the third hole is the anal hole. So these are the 3 holes that we have, and these are basically different what do you say, plumbings. So these are completely different plumbings which are not really interconnected, and inside it's completely different. Inside you it's completely different. Just like they're attached to each, they're close to each other with muscles which are common. So that's why if you go to, say, if you're going to the bathroom to, say, poop, and sometimes when you're going to poop, you sometimes feel the cup come a little down. You can feel it come down a little bit. It's not going anywhere, but it just come down because you're applying pressure. You're applying pressure to your pelvic muscle, so it comes down a little bit. But afterwards, it will go up, and there will be no problem. Same way, by your peeing, it doesn't have so much of effect because we don't have to put any pressure really to pee. So we don't feel the cup moving so much. But let me just assure you, there is nothing happening. Even if you go for peeing or potty, both of it, the cup is not coming out at all. There is no difference. It's gonna stay in its place. It may go up a little bit, come down, move down a little bit inside the vaginal canal, but it's not coming out of the vaginal canal. So please don't be worried about going to pee and then the cup coming out, or going for potty and then the cup coming out. That's not going to happen because it's completely 3 plumbing systems. Should we avoid? So again, if you're planning for a baby, if you do get pregnant, you're not going to have your periods. Until you get, if you do get pregnant, you are not going to have a period. When you don't have a period, you don't need to use your cup. But until you get pregnant, even if you're trying for baby, it shouldn't matter. It doesn't have any significance with your trying to have a baby. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your chances of having a baby. The menstrual cup won't affect that in any way, because the purpose of the menstrual cup is only to collect the period blood. That's the sole purpose of the menstrual cup. It won't interfere with anything else inside our body. It will not interfere with anything else inside our body. So we just collect our blood, then we take it out, then we dispose of the blood, then we put it back to collect again. So that's the only thing. So until you get pregnant, if you can keep using the cup when you have periods, and once you are pregnant, then you won't need to use it because you won't be having a period. And one thing is that once you are pregnant and then you deliver your baby, then it is ideal to not use the menstrual cup until at least a year later, because and even after a year, you should always discuss with your gynecologist before you start using it, because your body, your vagina will be at a very sore time, and so that time to put something will be it will be painful. So during right after delivery, it is obviously not a good time to use a menstrual cup. You should give it a break. You can go to try using the reusable cotton pads instead. You can use that and then go back to the cup once you are healed, completely healed down there. So until then, it's totally fine. It does not interfere with your trying for a baby. It doesn't interfere. So like near months. So if you don't have periods, you don't have to use it. If you're, I mean, that is if you're pregnant. But if you're trying, you still can use it when you are having, say, after periods. I mean, you only use it while you're having periods. So I don't think it should be any problem to you having a baby or conceiving. It shouldn't matter with conceiving at all. I mean, people who have been using menstrual cups have just as a normal woman has been conceiving too, just like anybody else. It doesn't interfere at all with your pregnancy. Please don't worry about it. So now what other, so most of the questions that I got are the common ones which I've already answered, most of them. So it sounds like it will be messy. So again, when it comes to removing it for the first time when you're using it, when you're removing it, when you don't know how to remove it properly, and you always think that, you know, inside your cup there's, you always, when you're using the cup for the first time, you always imagine that the cup is full, brimming with blood, and when you take it out, it's just gonna like be a gory thingy with blood all over the bathroom and all over you and all that. That's not how it is. Basically, when you take it out, you will realize, when you start using the menstrual cup, the first thing that you realize is that you don't bleed as much as you think you bleed. The amount of blood that you collect is much lesser than what you expect to be bleeding out. So when you use a normal pad, it has this whole thing that spreads. So you feel like there's so much blood, and in a menstrual cup, you actually even have measuring like small ways of measuring the amount of blood that you've actually bleeded. So it is very much lesser than what you expect. And when you take it out, the only way where you will have blood is when you take it and your fingers, which you use to bring the cup out, might have some blood around it, but it's not going to just fall on you or fall down. As long as you slowly wiggle it and just take it out properly and not like this, it should not fall over, and it's not messy. So trust me, it is not such a messy thing. And once you have become an expert at inserting and removing, there's no mess at all. So one thing I will keep telling everybody is that it takes lesser time to insert a cup or take out a cup and reinsert than the time you would actually take in if you're using a pad, the time you would take out the pad, then rolling it, covering it with a newspaper, putting it, then taking the next pad, then taking off the paper and then sticking it back and putting it back in and washing yourself before that. The more time you take for that, the time you take to insert and reinsert is way lesser than that. It doesn't take a long time at all. You can do it in like a minute or two max. Once you start becoming really good at this, it takes very negligible time. Trust me on that. I'm very sure all my converted ladies here would also say the same. So yeah, so this is again the another question that I had gotten. So I think I've basically covered mostly all the common questions or questions or issues that most of you were facing. So if any of you have any other issues, or you're worried about something or anything, like how Divya opened up about trying to plan for PDs, that's gonna have any issue, that's something I've never heard. Nobody's asked me that before. So if any of you have any such queries, whether you are not sure about something, please feel free to ask me, because I will happily solve it for you, or at least help you out with the knowledge I have. Okay, so yes. the toxic syndrome in cups. So again, let me just say, TSS or the uh, toxic shock syndrome is generally associated with a tampon. Generally, that is what is associated to this TSS. So basically, what happens is that if you keep a tampons, remember, tampons have chemicals inside of it. It's got chemicals inside, and you're only supposed to keep it inside you for 7 to 8 hours maximum. So if you keep it for more than 8 hours, there usually is some kind of bacterial, some infection. The bacteria might start acting on this tampon, and that sometimes lead to a very painful thing called as a TSS, a toxic shock syndrome, which is very painful and can have a lot of issues to us. So that is usually related to a tampon. So the main difference between a tampon and a cup, which I've already mentioned, but I'll repeat again, is that the tampon absorbs your blood and this uses the chemicals to absorb. So it absorbs your blood, while the cup is the opposite, it collects it. It doesn't absorb it. It doesn't absorb into its silicone. It doesn't absorb because silicone is an inert product. It doesn't react or absorb anything. So it collects the blood, and then you take it out, and then you pour it and clean it, and you put it back in. So the toxic shock syndrome will only happen if you are a very irresponsible person who doesn't clean the thing at all, or if you keep your cup in a very dirty place and then you just, without any kind of cleaning or sterilizing, you just insert it, or if you keep it for way longer than 12 hours, that is when there could be some kind of a toxic shock syndrome happening. But the number of times that happened is, I think it's very rare. I personally don't know anybody who's had it happen to them. But the times it's happened, it's usually because of very responsible ways of using the cup. So if you are using it in a very responsible way, you are inserting it, taking it out on time, cleaning it, and keeping it properly, you should not be worried about that at all, because it's not something that is common. So for the tampons, that's something that is warned even in the packet that you get the tampon, and they usually warn you about not keeping it for longer. Same way, don't keep the cup for longer than 12 hours, and just make sure that you handle it properly. You will not have any problem, because again, there is no chemical involved in this cup. The cups don't have any chemicals involved. It's a silicone thing which has no effect to your body. So that's why the chances of having any kind of an issue with the cup is very extremely rare. So please don't not start using a cup just because of the very rare chance of something like this happening if you are irresponsible. So otherwise, there is no issues at all for using it, because you are not going to have any toxic syndrome at all. So that again, I think Kriti is a very significant question. So if anybody has any such questions, I will love to help you out and open up about it. Because I think I have covered mostly all the common questions about this. So if you have any more questions, I will obviously cover it for you. But if not, I think it's been over an hour now, and it's been nice seeing so many people come here, and I hope that even if you haven't seen the entire thing yet, I'm sure that you can go back and watch the video, and I'm sure that I've covered almost all the main topics or main issues that most women face when it comes to using a menstrual cup, or the worry that is stopping them from using a menstrual cup. So I hope that I covered it, and if you watch this video later, I'm sure you will be able to hear those answers, and you will be able to hopefully, I hopefully have helped you out in that. So again, thank you so much for coming here and seeing me, talking to me live. So it's been a pleasure for me to have all of you here, and I hope that I was able to solve most of the issues that you may have faced or may have had about trying out a menstrual cup. So if you did enjoy this video, as always, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, because it is your way of supporting this community of ours and hoping to have more and more women join us in the community. Yes. Let's try to continue. So please make sure to share this video to all your lady friends, all your friends, so that more of us start realizing this pleasure of a product called as the Menstrual Cup. Because trust me, only reason I keep talking about it is because I personally call it the seed to my zero waste living. Without it, I never have started this journey at all. And for me, this product is the one thing. If there is one product, one zero waste swap, I recommend to every woman, it has to be a menstrual cup. So please try using it. And please, if you have any other questions, always feel free to reach out to me through Instagram. I'm mostly always active there. Feel free to comment, DM me, and ask me anything, and I will reply to you. I mostly reply to most of you, and I don't like one-line answers. I usually talk to you in very large paragraphs. So feel free to question and ask me anything that you have, and I would happily respond to you. So now I think it's been quite a long time now. So I think I should be wrapping this up. And thank you everybody who's helping this tribe grow. And let's hope that this tribe grows more and more and more, because I'm very sure that more of us, there are so many of us who will benefit from using this menstrual cup and going on the sustainable journey. So I hope that more and more of us are able to realize this and hopefully start on this journey just like us. Again, thank you so much for being here and being so patient and staying through this whole video. And thank you so much. And so I will see you again next week with another video. So until, bye bye.